So Stephanie White talked about Caitlin Clark here, and I think she might have, what she said might be talking a few people off the ledge. Like, thank God, we're hearing this. And look, this is a person who I understand. I do understand that she's probably pissed off at how many times she gets questioned about Caitlin, but you don't take the Indiana Fever job without knowing 60% of the questions you're going to be asked. Minimum 60, maybe 80% are going to be about Caitlin Clark. You don't take that job without knowing that. So, and there are a lot of situations. She is publicly has been less likely to praise Caitlin. I'm not saying she doesn't ever do it, but like she has been a little bit less likely to do it. But let's take a listen to this from the Query and Company podcast from Caitlin, or from 70 just this clip right here. Let's take a listen.
When you look at your offense, Stephanie White is my guess. She's the head coach of the Indiana Fever.
I'm just going to play it at 1.5 times speed rather than making this a 15-minute long video.
On Golden State tomorrow night, pregame at 9:30. The game is at 10 o'clock. I think I said the Fieldhouse. It's obviously on the road, but
10. Yeah, the game's at freaking 3 a.m. my time. I have to find, I'm going to get to bed at, I'm probably going to go to bed at 11 p.m. and then go to sleep. I'm going to go to bed at 11 p.m. I'm at a day 2 of a wedding tomorrow. So I got to go to that and then leave that early so I can get a 4 hours or a 3 hour nap before that. Not ideal.
Coach, when you look at your offense, and maybe it varies from play to play, but more often than not, who is your first offensive option?
Our first offensive option is usually Caitlin Clark, but it's in different ways. So, she does a great job of playing in transition and finding, especially Aaliyah Boston in the paint, running the floor, finding Kelsey on the wing. The challenge is that good defensive teams aren't going to always give you your first option. So how do we get high quality options for everybody on the floor? Obviously, our big three are going to get the bulk of the shots,
right?
And we need to fill in the pieces with everybody else and our role players and understanding where they're going to get their looks, how we're going to get it to them, putting them in position for success. So it takes some pressure off of the big three.
Unpopular opinion. I actually agree with what she's saying, but in a lot of situations, the actions don't really match the words. If you want, the easiest way to free up Lexi Hull in the corner or free up Sophie Cunningham in the corner is to get some form of an offense to run a high pick and roll. Is get into the high pick and roll. Why? Because high pick and roll forces the defense to scramble. Because you can't go under the pick and roll. You can't switch the high pick and roll. In most scenarios, you can't switch it, and you also can't you can't blitz it because of Aaliyah. And that's kind of basically anything that brings two players either to the roller or two players to Caitlin on the ball is is gonna get free up other people. And I don't think the team doesn't have very good cutters. That is a bit of a problem, but the team does not have very good cutters.
To carry us. They certainly do a great job, but we've got players who can knock down shots. We got players who can really run the floor. We've got players who are elite cutters.
I mean, Lexi's not a bad cutter. I'll say that. Lexi is not a bad cutter. But, Kelsey's probably the only elite cutter on the team.
Making sure that you have the right pieces around them is really important.
Obviously, Caitlin Clark was, ordered the drivers to their cars. Were you with her when that took place? Were you part of that party, if you will? Because she looked nervous. She didn't look nervous doing it.
I saw her before she went down there. And she didn't seem nervous to me. I like that helmet though. That helmet was nice.
Yeah. So I just saw her. It was like the Seinfeld where they were trying to do these pretzels are making me thirsty. She kept trying to figure out which way she's supposed to say it and go over the line. The reason I bring it up is because, and I wanted to simply address this. Your relationship, player to coach, coach to player with Caitlin Clark is what and where?
It's great. I have so much respect and admiration for her as a player, as a person, the way that she handles herself. We're very much alike in terms of our competitive fire, our competitive spirit, our perfectionism, so to speak, and type A personalities. I love going to work with her every day. I love that she loves to be coached and challenged and pushed. She wants to be the best, and you want to be surrounded by people who want to be the best. And so she makes it easy to come to work and to get after it every day.
And yeah, okay, that kind of should shut up the fans for a little bit about Steph White. And I'm going to be real, I still don't love Steph White as a coach for Caitlin Clark because I've always talked about their outlook on the game being so different. Like, it's very much the outlook of Stephanie White is, again, she wants to make the game a chess match. She wants to win. And there is an obsession with Stephanie White. And, like, there's no better game planner, which is why if you're Caitlin Clark, like, I think the thing is with Caitlin Clark is, like, she appears to be finding a way. It's like how you can find a way to basically to take on board what Stephanie White's saying, take on board the good things with Stephanie White's game planning, how she can scout, how she can do some things while also not losing herself in that. I feel like especially in that first game, she was overanalyzing everything, she was overthinking everything, and even to an extent against LA. Like, I think it really did take till the end of that Washington game before she started finding her own rhythm that we joke about the demon Caitlin came out. And that's the best version of Caitlin. Like, you don't want to shit talk Caitlin. She is a player that gets better when you shit talk her. And I don't think that's something Stephanie White loves. And I've always said this, where it's like, I absolutely believe that Stephanie White wants to coach Caitlin Clark the human. I think Stephanie White wants to coach someone with Caitlin Clark's skill set. And I just feel like, even if she is saying the right thing, I just feel like the fit might not be there. That being said, it could very well be a case where Stephanie White manages to get Caitlin Clark's game in a position where there are significantly less weaknesses, but there are times where Caitlin's just not going to listen and do her own thing. And in fairness to Stephanie White, when that works, she's not. Like, this is why I hate the whole sabotage thing, is that, like, if Caitlin Clark late in the game is cooking by doing her own thing, Steph White's not going to pull her. Like, if she was sabotaging Caitlin Clark, when Caitlin Clark went on that massive one-man run against the Washington Mystics, she would have just pulled her, because everything was just isolation and crazy shit. She would have pulled her from that game because she went away from the game plan. Like, I don't think Steph White is that type of coach. I think it'll frustrate her, but she'll still play her. But yeah, it is. It's one of those things now where at least this will shut up people for a while for being like, oh, she never praises Caitlin. She never talks about Caitlin. There's about a minute of her doing nothing but praising Caitlin here. So at least it'll shut up for those people for a while. So no, yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys.